Oh, you got to cover your junk.
Why?
So, like, bugs don't crawl into it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Hi, I'm Allan.
And I'm Russell.
And this is Popculture Pontification.
The show where we talk about movies and TV and books.
Books, yeah?
Yeah.
There's probably going to be some book chat.
I'm just looking around the room, saying things that I see.
My room is predominantly filled with books.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's books.
Books.
Russell, before we get into what we've been talking about this week, I have some behind-the-scenes news to bring up. Like a story to tell you.
Shouldn't you have given me this behind the scenes as opposed to on the podcast recording?
It's behind the scenes on the scene.
Okay,
yeah. BTS OTS.
That classic phrase.
BTS OTS, the classic phrase. What you probably don't know is that when I edit the audio for this...
You edit the audio?
I do. No, it's not just a plain cut-paste.
Oh, yeah. I thought we were so professional.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good usually, but there's a lot of more ums than a get left in.
Yeah, and so many C-bombs.
A lot of C-bombs. Yeah. Predominantly from you, which are the ones I cut out, so that's why there's only ever you hear the word from me. No. When I edit the audio, it's usually on Friday night, because we record on Thursday nights.
And you're a cool guy.
I am a cool guy, editing audio on a Friday night. That's fine. I work on the weekends. Don't worry about it. But usually my girlfriend, who's a wonderful person and who I respect very much.
She doesn't listen to the show, right?
No, but I know if I say anything bad about it, you're just going to send her the audio, that's why I say nice things about it. She's usually here when I'm editing the audio. Not always, mostly. And she usually just leaves the room because it's very distracting hearing two voices, one of them which is the person in the room who's not actually saying anything.
Yeah.
And so she'll go into the other room. And it's a very small apartment I live in, so she can still hear me. And she'll constantly interject as I'm editing the audio, and she'll just call out from the other room, "No, that's wrong. You were wrong." But last week, when you were doing your forced review.
Oh, yes.
And
attempting to do
your forced review, and I kept interrupting. She just called out from the other room, "Be nice to Russell. Let him do his... Stop interrupting." So,
well, I agree with her sentiment.
Yes.
Be nice
I feel
to Russell.
like I only ever interrupt with valid points and interesting questions.
I think last week I got to, "Moon is a move." And you're like, stop you right there.
Wait a minute. What's hard science fiction? There you go. That's just a fun little thing that happens pretty much every week when I edit the podcast. So I feel like that might... I'm trying to humanize myself to the listeners, Russell. I'm telling them stories about my personal life to make them grow attached to me.
You don't just want their respect, you want their love.
I do, that's it.
It's
I'm a very lonely person.
We have hit some sort of milestone with the listeners.
We have, actually, yes. Today, as of approximately midday on Thursday, I looked at our SoundCloud page, and we have hit 500 listens of our episodes that we have released, which is crazy to me.
It's astonishing.
It's really weird to me.
Thank you to everyone who's listened to our show, or at least downloaded and then forgotten about it.
It still counts, so I don't care.
We got to get the numbers.
But because of that, I started looking through like all the statistics that SoundCloud offers, and shockingly enough, about 90% of our listeners live in Australia.
That's not surprising. They probably live within 20 kilometers of this address.
That's true, yes. But the most interesting thing was that we have some listeners are in like the Netherlands and Belgium and stuff.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. So if you are listening from Europe, I guess, would be a fairly good catch-all.
The Low Countries.
The Low Countries, yes, whatever the hell that means. Then welcome. I was hesitating. I was going to use a weird accent there.
No.
But I chose
Can't
against
do that.
the very last minute.
No. That's good.
And we have some American listeners as well.
Yeah.
But the Netherlands and the Belgian ones really like...
They were the most exciting.
I was like, what? That's not... English isn't their native language there?
If we could get some like Argentinian listeners or listeners from Mozambique or somewhere even more exotic.
You just want a local inn to that Mozambique podcast that you know down.
I do, yeah. The Mozambique Express.
Yes. But that 500 is only on our SoundCloud page. Now, I have no idea how like iTunes works and all the other distributing places that I've posted our podcasts, like Stitcher and all that. Don't know whether those listens count towards our SoundCloud thing. I could have looked it up. I didn't. So I don't know if they count towards the tally or not. But, yeah.
Well, I assume not, since there must have been, like, billions of them.
Of course, yes. Yeah. If I checked our iTunes page, it would just be like, oh, wow, they're responding to our comments. I assume you can leave comments on iTunes. I don't know.
You can leave a review.
There you go. Good enough.
Anyway, that's enough stats chat. Let's get to the
Stat chat.
pop culture.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have one more story that I want to tell you.
Right.
And
is it statistics?
It's not statistic based, so I'm outside of that now.
Oh, good.
I have been the witness to an ongoing non-verbal war that has been happening in my apartment complex.
I see.
Yes. Now, you don't know anything about this. I haven't told you anything about this yet.
But are you going to be liable for defamation?
Defamation of character?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the names of any of the people involved, so I feel like it was pretty good.
All right, go ahead.
Now, I'm going to have to paint sort of a word picture here. I park in the first bay of a row of vehicles, right? And in front of where I park, there is a gate. Fence, rather.
Yes.
I'm using wild hand gestures here that are only helpul to Russell.
Well, you were, like, displaying a gate.
A fence, yes.
Yeah.
It's a fence, and there's about 4 or 5 car bays, before I can get around the fence and get into the apartment complex proper. And it's easier to walk between the cars and the fence than it is to go all the way around the back of the cars, because sometimes it's hard to get through. That's not important. What is important...
I wish I could watch this on mute and try and determine what you're explaining through your crazy interpretive dance.
Crazy interpretive dance that I'm doing, yes. But there is a new car that is about 2 spaces away from me.
Yeah.
And it is like a crappy green, like Kingswood or something like that.
Okay.
It's like an old sort of Australian car.
Is it a bomb?
It's a bit of a bomb. Okay. It's a bit of a bomb. And parked next to that is this even crappier van that has been there for longer than I've lived here.
Okay.
At some point, somehow, a crappy bedside table got put behind one of the cars.
Right.
Now, daily, I have come out to either go to work or come home from work or whatever, and it started out behind the crappy green car.
Yeah.
Who then, possibly because it was in his way or something, or it wasn't his or whatever, moved it to in front of the crappy van.
Yeah.
At which point, it has just been shifting back and forth on a daily basis. Because obviously every time one of them comes out, they're like, this fucking piece of shit, crappy bedside table, and they move it in front of the other car. And so it has just been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for about a week and a half, and I've been loving every minute of it. And I only noticed this because I've had to start going around behind the cars because it's in the way and I can't get past. And I've just been loving seeing it, like, it's so passive aggressive that I've loved every second of it.
I have a question.
Go for it. It's not my bedside table, if that was what you're going to ask.
Is it chuck-out day in your neighbourhood? Because there's a pile of, like, there's an old fridge and a chair and stuff out the front.
People just leave stuff out the front.
Why don't they put the table out there?
I don't know. There's no drawers, so it's just the frame of a bedside table.
It seems like they could easily disarm this conflict.
The problem could so easily be solved.
Yeah.
They're like 50 meters away from the bins, so they could just go put it next to the bins, and the garbage men would take it away.
Yeah.
But clearly they're like, I'm not doing that. It's fucking a load of nonsense. But I came out, and it had been escalated.
Oh,
because they came out to find the bedside table on the hood of the crappy green crappy green Kingswood or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, it's getting real, because there's a roof, so there's no room to put it on top of the crappy van because it's so close to the ceiling. So I was like, I was so excited. I was like, what's gonna happen next? But I came out the next day and it was gone. So a disappointing end to something I was paying an avid amount of attention to.
That's a shame. I was listening out for like a scream or an explosion or smashing glass. Or...
Just like some the sound of a bedside table going through someone's windscreen.
Yeah.
It's not mine, motherfucker! Anyway, that's what's been happening here, and I thought it was rather amusing, so I thought I would share. How are you doing, Russell?
I'm doing good.
You doing good? You doing alright? You holding it up?
Yeah. Well, hang on. What does that mean?
I don't know. I said it. Now I'm going to go with it.
And I just agreed.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, like of course I'm holding it up.
Yeah.
Like a dream.
Can I tell you about some movies?
You can tell me all about some movies.
Well, last week I went to
Now, before you start, Russell. No, I'm kidding. Go on. Proceed.
I went to a movie night. We watched 2 films.
I have a question, but...
Already.
I feel like I should wait because I get a load of flack for this.
Okay.
Was this just like at someone's house, or was this like a movie marathon or something?
No, it was just at someone's house.
Okay.
Yeah. We had 2 movies. The first one was The Last Boy Scout, starring Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans.
Yep. He was a footballer, drug addict, and Bruce Willis is a ex-Marine who saved the president.
He's John McClane.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. And we also watched a movie called Freejack.
I'm
sure you haven't seen.
That I have not heard anything about.
Batshit insane.
Batshit insane good or batshit insane? Insane.
It was good in a bad movie kind of way.
All right.
I'll just talk about Last Boy Scout first for a little bit.
Well, I already told you the entire plot.
I'm not going to talk about the plot. When would I talk about the plot?
Oh, it's ridiculous, Nation.
It was very funny, despite Damon Wayans being a terrible actor.
Oh, yeah, he's not the best.
Yeah. And I've not seen any of his comedy outside of movies, but I can't imagine he's a very good comedian.
Have you seen him as Major Payne?
Yeah, when I was 8 years old or whatever.
That's...
I was trying to remember what movies he had been in, and that was the only one that anybody brought up.
He's been in quite a few of the Wayans Brothers movies, but I can't remember the name of any of them.
I guess Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. I don't know.
I can't remember.
Maybe as a director or a screenwriter.
Yep. Well, the fact that he was part of the Scary Movie franchise probably tells you more about him than we could.
Yeah. I remember really enjoying the first one when it came out.
That's because the parody movie franchise has really sort of stopped knowing how to do it. You know? It's like the classic ones, like Airplane, for example, and the Naked Guns and the,
Mel Brooks movies.
Mel Brooks movies, basically. Yeah. They didn't rely so much on dick and fart jokes.
Yeah, or celebrities getting poo on their face.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. It was just about making fun of the tropes of movies. Yeah. And they did it quite tastefully for the most part. And I don't know, tasteful is the right way. They did it quite well, I suppose.
I remember in Spaceballs that alien burst out of the guy's chest and started
hello, my honey, hello, my baby.
I'm not sure that's tasteful.
Yeah, but it was funny.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Whereas in the Scary Movie franchises, is about teens banging each other and dick and fart jokes.
I remember almost nothing except she got run over at the end and it was funny.
Oh, okay, I don't remember.
Yeah, because she was the last survivor. She ran out into the street. It was no, and then a car ran her over.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, Damon Wayans, Last Boy Scout.
Last Boy Scout. That's what we were talking about. It was hilarious. Has some great lines. I highly recommend everybody watch it.
Yes, if you haven't seen it, ignore what I just said about the plot and go watch it.
Well, I mean, you didn't exactly spoil anything.
I didn't spoil it, but still. Yeah.
And it had MacGyver's buddy in it.
MacGyver's buddy?
Yeah.
That really narrated. Yep, everyone knows who you're talking about.
Well, MacGyver had there was the boss, and there was his buddy who had a moustache. And it was the buddy.
Far too long ago for me to remember who you're talking about.
Never mind then. Anyway, Freejack.
Freejack.
I'm sure nobody listening...
Which is an animated movie about a carjack who just wants to be free.
No, it was a prequel to Free Willy, but it was about freeing Kangaroo Jack. No, I'm making it up.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Kangaroo Jack has been taken prisoner. We must free him.
That was this bizarre science fiction movie. It came out in 91, I think. And it was about Emilio Estevez, who was a race car driver. Mm-hmm. And he died in a horrible crash.
Right. Which
was filmed on TV. And because the instant of his death was filmed on TV, it enabled Mick Jagger in the future... Yes, Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones.
Just let that sink in. I didn't have a look of shock on my face or anything. You're like, that's right, Mick Jagger.
Yeah. I don't expect you to recognise people by their names.
I know who Mick Jagger is.
The listener out there appreciated it.
Alright, fair enough.
So Mick Jagger is rewatching the video of this and knows like the exact instant that Emilio Estevez died, and he uses this like
phone booth to travel back in time and for a report he's doing.
He uses this like magical technology to bring Emilio Estevez into the future of like 2009 or whatever.
So a time machine. It's a time machine, Russell.
Yeah.
It's not some magical futurist. It's a time machine.
Well, a time machine gives people certain ideas.
Travels things through time, which is what they do.
Okay. Well, as long as that's the only idea you're taking from it.
How did he like explain the fact that he took him away at, I'm assuming, at the moment of his death, so he didn't die? What did he put, like a fake corpse back in the burning wreckage or something?
No, and like no body was ever found. So like,
how did they explain that away?
Well, he died in a horrible fireball.
The fire burned so hot it destroyed every trace of him.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, they didn't have any other explanation for it, so I guess they would have gone with that. Or maybe like Fringe Division or the X-Files investigated it at the time.
It's like, this means something.
But anyway, he is brought into this horrible dystopian future, which is quite reminiscent of like Escape from New York.
When was this made?
91.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking if it was like made in like the 70s or something, like every future movie is all like, ooh, it's shiny, sparkling, all problems have been solved, future town. Whereas it was like 10 years later, it's like, welcome to the future, everyone is fucked.
Yeah, this is more that kind of future.
Okay.
The reason that they have brought him to the future is because everybody in the future, because of pollution,
don't know how to race cars, and they're desperate for his knowledge.
No.
To save the human race.
Although he does like getting car chases and stuff.
Well, fair enough.
Obviously. Anyway, he has been brought to the future because everybody due to pollution is ill and dying and their bodies are not.
I'm so excited because I think I've guessed where this is going.
Okay, well, settle down. Mick Jagger's job is to bring people into the future so that their bodies can be used for dying old rich people.
This is nowhere near where I thought it was
transfer
going.
their like consciousness into so that they can, live on. Where were you going?
I was all like, everybody's all fucked up with pollution and infertile, so they bring people from the past to breed.
To bang. This is, I don't know what sort of movies you've been watching.
Well, just the other day I started watching Barbarella, so...
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that movie?
No.
No?
Well, I've heard the name.
It's like a 60s or 70s sort of
porno?
Sexy sci-fi movie.
Okay.
Where like a woman is like a hero in space. And all
like that,
she's like super sexy.
Star thing?
Yeah, sort of, but more so, because in the first 5 minutes you see the chick get out of a space costume.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
And she's super naked underneath. But I didn't watch all of it, so I can't tell you more than that.
Anyway, yeah, this movie, it's
I'm
real
assuming,
bad.
It's a terrible movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it had an amazing cast. Like, besides having Mick Jagger in, which was the most bizarre thing ever.
Not exactly known for his acting talent.
No. But it had, like, Anthony Hopkins in it.
I suppose, yeah.
As the, like, leader of this corporation, which Rene Russo worked for. Who was also Emilio Estevez's girlfriend when he died. And so she...
How many years in the future was this?
It was like 20 years.
Oh, okay.
But Rene Russo is one of those
the
women
Earth took a real downturn real fast.
Yeah, it did. But she can play any age, so it still worked. She's like Kate Blanchett. Nobody knows how old Kate Blanchett is.
She's one of the immortals.
Yeah. But it was redeemed by just the like ludicrous stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming something goes awry and he doesn't just get taken over by an old person.
No. He escapes and then like bad guys are chasing him. Mick Jagger's chasing him.
Feels like it'd be a lot easier to just let him go and then just bring other people back
and get
from
somebody
the past.
else. Yeah. Or like go slightly further back in time and steal him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just, you have a time machine. As soon as he escapes, just appear and grab him.
There's a lot of plot holes, as there are in many time travel movies. But one of the guys in the movie who works with Rene Russo's character, I think his name was Grand Bush, like the actor's name.
A great name.
Yeah, it's an amazing name. Anyway, you would know him as Agent Johnson from Die Hard, the black FBI guy.
Oh, okay. Johnson & Johnson, no relation.
Yeah. In this movie, he is like the most badass guy ever. He wears a trench coat in the future and he carries around...
This is like prime in the realm of everybody in the future wears a trench coat.
Yeah. He carries around this machine gun and a friggin' samurai sword. And the whole movie,
So
he's carrying this
basically-
freaking sword.
Basically, whatchamacallit?
What, Neo?
Fuck. No, Neo doesn't carry around a samurai sword.
He would, though.
He would, though.
I bet he does in, like, the Animatrix.
He probably does.
Yeah.
I've seen the Animatrix. He doesn't.
Yeah, that's very disappointing.
What's the fun? There can be only one. What am I talking about? Highlander. Sounds like a Highlander.
He's basically a Highlander. Anyway, he carries around this fucking sword the entire fucking movie. And he never draws it to attack anybody. I mean, you're wearing a trench coat and you have a samurai sword. You could just kill everybody. But the only time he ever kills anybody with it is when he's on his deathbed and he, like, slowly forces it into a guy's chest to kill him. Which is not, like, a cool samurai move.
I suppose so.
And then shortly after he dies, and he doesn't, like, pass his sword on to Emilio Estevez.
Is it, like, some sort of a cool badass sword or anything?
Well,
or is it just like a normal sword?
It's just a normal sword.
It's not like an energy sword or anything?
No.
Okay.
But it's a katana.
Okay, I get it, yeah.
Innately cool.
I guess. But you're like, oh, he didn't pass it on.
Yeah.
Did he, like, talk about how this has been passed down from generation to generation?
No, but it's like Chekhov's gun. Are you familiar with the concept?
If you have a gun on a set...
Yeah, in Act 1, then it must be fired.
It must be fired by Act 3, otherwise get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like Chekhov's katana.
Fair enough, yes.
Why was it not used?
I don't know, he did use it.
Yeah, but not in a cool katana type way.
I suppose
he could have done a similar job with a rock, just bash the guy's skull in. He was defenseless.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was my biggest point to take away from Freejack.
It reminds me of, like, whatchamacallit? Serenity, the movie. The guy's got a sword.
Yeah.
He uses it all the time. It's like, a guy killed me. Well, I'll kill him with a sword.
Yeah.
Crazy. But he, like, nerve locks someone and then he, like, holds the sword and they fall on it, committing suicide in his mind, you know. It's a noble death. That was cool.
Yeah, that
cool
was cool.
Sword use.
I have problems with that movie, but we won't get onto them now.
You have problems with Serenity?
Yeah.
In what regard? Because they kill people?
We won't get onto them now.
Why not?
Basically, because they kill people.
Yeah, of course.
And like completely fucked any possibility of a series.
The series was never going to continue.
Yeah, but you didn't have to murder everybody.
That's what I love about Will Wheaton, though.
What?
Not Will Wheaton. What's his name? Fuck. No, you do that thing where you leave me hanging. You know what his fucking name is.
Yeah, of course I do.
Fuck.
He directed The Avengers.
I know, I can't remember his name.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Thank you. I've got that. I've got fucking Serenity here somewhere. I swear to God, I will just look at it. You fail to realise that I can just look at the DVD I've got sitting right here.
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, fuck you. That's where I got the Wheaton from.
Yeah.
Will Wheaton, Joss Whedon. Anyway, once he realised that the series was never going to continue, and the only thing he was going to get was a movie.
Yeah.
And then he realised that he could just dispose of the characters appropriately, is in the movie, to like progress the plot and give the whole movie depth.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like the movie, or you don't like Firefly?
Oh, I liked the series, but the series was clearly the first series of an ongoing story, and they built up all of these like mysterious plot threads, like
which
Shepherd books background and
all
stuff like
got
that.
solved in comic books, by the way.
Yeah, but you know, I want the TV show.
Well, after it got cancelled, dick move though it was.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that it got cancelled because it's.
Whoa! Hold on.
Okay.
Can we get it on record? Alan Clark the Fourth.
Alan John Clark the Fourth.
Alan John Clark the Fourth.
Stop saying my full name on the podcast.
Is pleased that Firefly was cancelled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to know why?
I assume because you're an asshole.
No. I like the fact that it got cancelled because now it's always going to be great. It could have done that thing where it went on for another couple of seasons and then it didn't carry the same level of awesomeness that it currently has in its current incarnation. Every episode is amazing and great. But what if, like, the next season, everything just went downhill and it just sort of fell apart and turned shit?
That is a possibility.
But that's something we'll never know because it just remains awesome. It's like in a time capsule right now, and it's great. And the movie is great. And everything is great.
No, the movie's bad. I don't like it.
No, you're a fool. It's a great movie.
Right.
If your only problem with the movie is that he killed characters, then that's your problem, not the movie's problem. If that's the only complaint that you have, is, oh, he killed killed Wash. Wash was my favourite. Then you're being a fangirl.
No, because, like, my main complaint is Shepherd Book's death. And I can't even... I only saw the movie once, because I didn't like it.
I've seen it like 8 times, so I can tell you exactly how it went down.
Like, he had all of these mysterious... He had a mysterious past, and, like, he got the medical treatment that time.
Yep.
And I was like, whoa, who is this guy? And then in the movie, I just said, oh, yeah, he's this. Oh, no, he's dead.
Well, they didn't explain who he was. He's like, you never told me who you were. And he was like, some mysteries don't get solved. And then he dies. And that's fucking awesome.
No, that's fucked.
You're a fool. Why? You just because... Like, they didn't neatly tie up every little thing.
Well, no, because that plotline is not ever going to be resolved in a satisfactory way.
Well, it was never gonna be, because they weren't just gonna make the entire movie, oh, what's up with fucking Shepherd Book and fucking...
They could have. I would have liked that a lot better.
It's a great movie and you're a madman.
It's like my complaint with Lost.
That's different.
The cause of me losing interest in Lost was, in the first season, they set up the... monster in the forest.
And the smoky cloud bad guy thing.
Well, when they initially set it up, it could have been anything, and in my mind it was a Tyrannosaurus.
In my mind it was like a weird polar bear thing.
Yeah.
Because they also introduced
there was a polar bear.
Yes. I thought the polar bear was making that noise.
Yeah. And then they introduced a smoke monster right at the end of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on I realised that the mystery of what the monster in the forest was never going to be resolved in a satisfactory way.
I don't believe it ever is, from what I've heard of the story. And it's different.
I got out early, and I understand that in later seasons there were more mysteries that were never resolved in a satisfactory way.
Lost's whole thing is that it raises questions and then it just never answers them.
Yeah.
But that was different. They had time to do it. They just chose not to.
Yeah.
Whereas in Firefly and all that sort of stuff, they raised these questions in the first season because they expected to be able to answer them in the later seasons.
Yeah.
But then there was no way they could answer all of them in a movie without it just being plot dump. Just a big lump of plot dump in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So some stuff had to get left by the wayside. Like, why was I forget her name, because I'm terrible with names,
Kaylee,
Inara.
River.
Inara.
Yeah.
Why was she traveling around when she was like some sort of amazing, high-ranking prostitute woman?
Yeah.
Companion, thank you, yes. But, and so they had to pick something to solve in the movie, which was his only chance to solve anything.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of picking Inara or Book or what happened during the war with Mal and all of them, that he picked River.
Yeah,
and he solved that, which was the biggest plot hook. What was the deal with these guys? They were the ones that were being chased and all that stuff. That was the biggest story that got left off.
Yeah.
Which is what he solved in the movie.
I would have been happier if he had done so and left the potential for the other characters' stories to be resolved.
Okay. Well, that's one thing I like about Joss Whedon, is that he's not afraid to kill people. Because if you know everybody's going to live, then what's the point?
I suppose.
If everybody...
He would never do that in an Avengers movie, though.
He killed off Quicksilver.
I know he gives a fuck about Quicksilver. Least of all Marvel, because he's part of the X-Men universe and they can't use him in their own movies.
He was initially in the Avengers. That's why they got to use him, is that they first showed up in Avengers.
Yeah.
But then later on it was revealed that they were mutants and so on and so forth. That's a whole nother fucking story thread. We're not going to go down. But he couldn't do that with them because they're not his characters, He didn't write that. But even in, like, Angel and Buffy, he's just quite happy to kill off characters, But the show's lasted long enough that eventually he got to bring them back.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about him. He's not afraid to,
not shy about killing off Agent Coulson.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. And even though he got brought back.
Even though he got brought back, like, right away.
But he's not afraid of killing characters.
Yeah.
Nobody's immortal in his universes. Whereas if you look at, like...
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare kills off people all the fucking time. But if you look at, like, X-Files...
Yeah.
Agent Mully and Sculder never got killed. Neither of them ever got killed.
Well, no, they're the main characters.
Exactly. But why not? They get put in situations where they could die hundreds of times.
Yeah, but then you have to end or dramatically change the show.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens, is that people die.
Yeah.
Bad things happen.
Yeah.
That's what he's sort of going with. You can't be upset when he kills someone. You know, Wash was my favorite character. I fucking love Wash.
Yeah.
He was the best. But he died, and it was sad.
By
But
the way,
it gave gravitas to the situation.
you're going to have to put a spoiler warning on the front of this episode. We've just been raining Firefly and Serenity spoilers.
I feel like it's been around for like 15 years at this point. Probably not 15 years. About 10 years or so. I don't remember when it came out.
And if you're listening to a podcast called
Popculture Pontification, you should be well informed of what Firefly is.
How we doing?
Anyway, that's my reasoning behind why it's alright to kill off characters. It's like you watch any sort of Disney movie, you're gonna be like, I'm not attached to any of these characters. They're not gonna fucking die or anything. Nothing bad stuff will happen to them, but it'll get all wrapped up in a neat bow.
Yeah.
Like the end of Gravity Falls happened.
What's Gravity Falls?
It's an amazing animated show.
Okay.
End of Gravity Falls happened. And I'm not gonna spoil because that just came out. But like something bad happens to one of the main characters.
Fucked it.
Something bad happens to one of the main characters.
Yeah.
And even as it happened, I was like, I'm not concerned about this character like dying or getting, maimed or whatever, disappearing or whatever, because it's a kids show. Of course, it's gonna be fine. But if you watch a fucking Will Wheaton movie, it's fucking anything's game.
You called him Will Wheaton again.
Fuck! Joss Whedon.
I imagine Will Wheaton would probably make pretty entertaining movies.
He would.
Yeah.
He's
Seems
been
like a
in
clever guy.
pretty entertaining movies.
Has he?
Yeah. It's not... Yeah, Stand By Me. You have any idea what Stand By Me is?
It's a song.
It's well done, Russell. It's also a movie that he was in when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. So, there you go.
Okay, good to know.
I don't know what my point was I was trying to make with that, but he's been in interesting movies, yeah, like Stand By Me.
So Freejack. Other reasons to watch this movie. Aside
Other
from
than cool
Mick
samurai,
Jagger
and people dying.
and the disappointment of the samurai guy. Mike from Breaking Bad is in it.
I've never
He's a
seen
much
that.
younger man, still with the same droopy, angry-looking face.
Fair enough.
And that's about it. But it was very entertaining.
So, samurai guy, what was the main actor's name again?
Emilio Estevez.
And Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
Fair
Also
enough.
Rene Russo and Anthony Hopkins.
Fair enough.
For some reason.
So just go watch it for the actors, not the content of the movie.
Yeah. Shockingly, it came out the same year or the year before or after Silence of the Lambs.
So it came about around the same time as The Silence of the Lambs, is what you're trying to say.
You could put it that way. And I imagine if that had not come out, Anthony Hopkins' career would not have had the same successful
Upward
trajectory based on
Oh, was he like the
Freejack.
Clarice guy?
Yeah,
Is that who Anthony
Hannibal
Hopkins-
Lecter.
Oh, I've been sitting here trying to figure out who he is. Through context, please.
I think he was... Was he Alfred in the old Batman movies?
Christ, I don't know. Christ knows. I wouldn't have a clue.
Like the Val Kilmer Batman movie? I feel
Yeah,
like
I
he
know
might
what
have
the
been
old...
Alfred.
I'm not thinking you're talking about fucking...
Christopher Nolan.
no, the James West guy.
James West. Oh, Adam West.
Adam West, yeah.
No.
James
Did he
West.
have an Alfred?
Who the fuck is James West?
He has the best tuner.
That's John West. No, yeah, he'd have an Alfred. And Anthony Hopkins, if that's who we're talking about, I hope I remember the right name, would be probably have been old enough to be in those.
I don't think it was him.
No, probably not.
But it would be great if it was.
It would be amazing. What else? What else? You said you watched a couple of movies. Have you watched anything else?
Yes, I watched a movie on Netflix called Apocalypto, which
That sounds familiar.
is directed by Mel Gibson.
Is that about like a Viking kid or something gets left with some Incans? What am I thinking of? Is that what I'm talking about?
Fuck if I know. This is not this.
No, he was like left with native... white dude was left with like Native Americans.
Pocahontas?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Not important.
No, this is not.
No, anything to do with
Not
that?
Apocalypto. No.
Fair enough.
Apocalypto is a movie about this South American society. Might be Mayan or something like that.
See, I said fucking Aztecs or something. That's the same
You
basic
said
region.
Incans.
Whatever, same
Further
area.
down.
Whatever. same, but different.
But there's no white people. All the actors are Native Americans or Native Mexicans.
You just really hesitated. You're like, Native... Oh, shit. First Nations people.
I think I found a satisfactory term.
You're supposed to call them apparently First Nation people now, Native Americans.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that only counts if you're American.
Well, I'm sure. I don't know. You're talking to me. I'm not exactly the most politically correct guy here around the place.
Let's leave this alone before we step any further into this minefield.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah.
Incans.
They all talk in whatever language.
So it's subtitled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a surprise. And basically, this guy, the main character, his village gets attacked by these
another village.
More badass guys who have the big temples and they perform human sacrifices and stuff.
Incans, right. Aztecs. Fucking Aztecs. Yeah, always sacrificing Aztecs. People.
Anyway, it's a pretty straightforward story once you get past the subtitles and the strange setting. Because they're all like hanging out in loincloths with bones pushed through their nose and stuff.
Like boobies? Boobies out?
Yeah, on occasion.
Because women never really wore upper body coverings back in the day.
Well, why would you?
I don't know.
It's like really warm.
It's probably.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they wear loincloths, to be honest with you.
Oh, you got to cover your junk.
Why?
So, like, bugs don't crawl into it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Bugs. Damn you Aztec bugs.
Yeah. The story is pretty straightforward. His village gets attacked. Most people get killed. He gets taken as a slave along with some of the other villagers.
Spoiler warning, Russell. Jesus.
This happens in like the first 20 minutes. The wife and son escape. They get trapped down this big pit and they can't get back out. It starts to rain, so the pit's filling with water, which introduces the like race against time element.
I've never been that concerned when people are like trapped in a pit that's slowly filling with water. Just float until you're out of the hole.
For some reason, it doesn't work in this case.
It never seems to work.
No. I guess it's probably because it's fresh water. So it's not salty, so you're not as buoyant.
You can still float in fresh water. Have you never been in a pool?
Touche, Alan. Touche.
Have you never been in like a pond or a lake?
Okay, fair point.
Just the confidence you came in with that. It's like, oh, it's not salt water, Alan. Of course it doesn't work.
That's a scientific explanation. The Dead Sea.
Dead Sea's, it's easier to float in salt water, yes. But you can float in fucking distilled water if you wanted to.
Well, maybe the rain in Venezuela or wherever, maybe it has like anti-salt in it.
Oh, negative salt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually takes the salt out of you.
It does.
Which is, maybe that's why it's a danger.
Yeah.
Because they'll get desalinated over time.
There you go.
Yeah,
solve that mystery.
All wrapped up in a neat little package. It's a race against time.
Yes, that's the basic plot. He has to escape his captors and get revenge for them killing his dad, and then get back to rescue his wife and son.
I feel like if you had to choose between revenge for them killing your dad and saving someone who's going to drown and is still alive, I'd probably skip the revenge part.
Yeah, there's always time for revenge later.
Yeah, that's it. You can come back.
Yeah. And it was quite entertaining. It was well made. It was really funny despite... the start, before all the nightmarish stuff happens.
It was really funny. I love corpses.
It got really violent later. But the start is very amusing when one of the villagers, he can't get his wife pregnant, and everyone in the village just gives him shit constantly. They're like, here, eat these tapir balls. They'll, give you extra potency. And he eats them and he starts throwing them up because they taste so disgusting. Everyone just pisses themselves laughing. And another guy's
have you seen, a tapir dick?
No.
Those guys are crazy. It's like a fucking enormous prehensile dick.
Are you making this shit up?
No, I'm not. Tapirs, yeah.
Okay, we can look that up later.
Yeah, put it in the link though.
This other guy gives him this herbal stuff. He's like, just rub it downstairs and, your wife will definitely get pregnant.
Chili powder.
Yeah, and he comes running screaming out of his thing and jumps in the pool and everybody's pissing themselves off.
And then he gets horribly eviscerated.
Yeah. Did he? I don't remember. But when they get to the temple, they're up on the top and there's all these religious figures standing around with big hats on and their skin painted. And you, graphically see, still beating hearts getting cut out of people's chests.
Oh, yeah.
And then they get decapitated and their severed heads and headless torsos get thrown down the pyramid. And they roll to the bottom and then these dudes come over and pick them up and chuck them on this giant headless corpse pile. It was really grim.
Well, you would know better than I do, even though I've done a little bit of reading about this in the past because it interested me. But they did horrible, awful human sacrifices back in the day. All of that is like period accurate shit.
Yeah.
You know, like they used to have these enormous pyramids that were just fucking red because they're just soaked in blood of the hundreds of people that they killed.
Yeah. It's a bit nightmarish.
It was very, very nightmarish. I have no connotations that if I accidentally went back and fucking landed in fucking Mayan territory, I would not survive, Russell. No. I would be killed very quickly.
Yeah. And it reminded me of this. This is a movie I never want to see, but I've seen the trailer. It's called The Green Inferno, and it came out last year.
It's all about grassland fires. It's really makes you think. Only we can stop forest fires, Russell.
No. It's not that at all.
Okay.
It's set in like the Amazon jungle or whatever, and it's created by Eli Roth, who did like Hostel and other gore fests like that.
Oh yeah,
torture porn movies.
Stuff, yeah.
And basically these like wholesome white Americans go for a flight down there, and their plane crashes in the jungle.
And Aztecs get them.
Yeah, well they get taken prisoner by these like primitive tribesmen who are cannibals.
Do they even exist anymore in real life?
I don't know. They do in Eli Roth's imagination. And basically the movie is just them getting tortured to death and eaten over 2 hours or whatever.
I do not get people's fascination with these types of movies.
Yeah, it's not
like Saw
for me
and stuff.
at all.
It's just, no thank you. I'm not interested.
Yeah. But I watched Hideo Kojima, the game developer behind Metal Gear Solid. He and one of his friends did a YouTube video where they discussed their top 10 movies of last year. And his friend had this movie at like number 3 or something, and he also had another movie about cannibalism in his top 10, so...
Maybe this guy is trying to tell you something.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about Kojima's friend.
Kojima, don't go on a holiday with this guy.
Not to the jungle, no.
But in regards to people being taken places and being abandoned there, I recently started playing this game.
Firewatch?
Yes. No, I finished that though.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was alright. I was left disappointed by the ending of it a little bit.
While avoiding spoilers, I think the reason why is because there are a few possible reasons for the strange occurrences, and they went for one in particular.
I would be very surprised if you could change the result of the strange occurrences to something else.
Well, you could if you rewrote the whole game.
No, I meant like through dialogue choices.
Oh, no, there's only one outcome. Yeah, I've read a discussion of this online. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people were disappointed that was the...
It was a bit of a letdown.
The mystery behind it all.
Personally.
Yeah.
But I am now intrigued about going back through the entire thing and not answering differently, just not saying anything at all. Which in this game is an option. You can just not answer through all the dialogue options.
You can do that in the Walking Dead games, and mostly people just think you're a dick if you don't answer.
I'm just stoic. Whatever. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I'm a stoic 11-year-old girl.
You play as an 11-year-old girl in the Walking Dead games.
Oh, yeah, spoilers. Season 2, you play as Clementine.
Okay.
When in Season 1, you played as Lee, who was taking care of Clementine.
Fair enough. You'd think, as someone who watched the show, I'd know who those characters are.
They're not from the show.
Oh, okay. That's why I was like, oh god, have I forgotten their names? Jesus Christ.
You didn't even know who Mick Jagger was.
I know who Mick Jagger is. Anyway, I started playing a game called the Solus Project. And that sounded like I said the Solus Project.
Yeah, it really did.
No, it's sun, like soul.
Solus
Project. The Solus Project. And it's got a bit of hype going on in the internet at the moment.
Yeah.
And so I bought it. It's like $10, $15, whatever. I got fucking money to burn, baby.
For the listeners, he just made the making it rain gesture.
Making it rain gesture, yes. No. And it's all about, it's a Swedish or European of some variety, Norwegian or something. I'm not sure exactly where. I haven't really done my research. Which is a staple for Popculture Pontification. Yeah. We don't do our research.
I really feel the research detracts from the free-flowing...
Yeah, the witty banter back and forth.
Yeah.
But it's all about Earth is destroyed in some calamity.
Shit.
As, you know, as happens.
Yeah.
And 6 big ships get sent out to Pluto. Because that's where they hang out for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
You think they'd stay near the sun, but they don't.
Why do they want to hang out at Pluto? It's not even a planet.
Hey, you leave Pluto fucking out of this, mate. You leave him alone.
Alright.
He's fucking enormous. I don't know why he's not considered a planet. He's really big. Anyway.
He. Anthropomorphizing this celestial body.
Pluto. I like Pluto, alright? It's always been my favourite planet.
Really?
Yeah.
You must have been really cut when it got cut.
I was not happy about that. But the wound has mostly healed, so let's not reopen it.
Okay.
Anyway, they go hang out in Pluto or something.
Yeah.
And then they start sending ships off to various solar systems to
try and find a real planet?
Trying to find a... Fuck you. Trying to find a habitable planet that they can survive on.
And Pluto is neither habitable or a planet.
Really pushing my buttons, Russ. Can't wait for you to go on holiday.
Please continue.
To solar system. Is this what it's like dealing with me?
Yeah.
And this ship crashes, gets blown up, something explodes it. This is all in like the opening 5 minutes of the game. Something hits it, explodes up, and then you're in first person in an escape pod that crash lands on the planet.
Right.
And then it is a survival game, basically. You gotta like go find food and water and all that sort of stuff, and you have like a little future doohickey sort of iPad Jimmy Jam.
Yeah.
That'll like show you what the humidity is, how wet you are, whether you have hypothermia, dehydration, all this sorts of stuff. Whether you're like suffering injuries, what your health is, all that sort of stuff.
Are you alone?
You are by yourself,
right.
Yes. And on an uninhabited planet.
Yeah.
Quotation marks.
And then you tame dinosaurs.
Yes, that's exactly what happens. This is where the dinosaurs went. Turns out they didn't get blown up. They just went to another planet. But it's very visually quite attractive.
Yeah.
And but you can only carry like 12 things and all that sort of stuff. After 12 things, obviously, you're all like, carry capacity exceeded. And then you like create a torch and you can go exploring through caves and stuff like that. And there's like future technology that you pick up and all that sort of stuff. And the planet's not as uninhabited as you think. All that sort of stuff. But I suppose they went for like the realism aspect, which sort of took it away from it. There was like 3 settings. It was either like exploration, normal, or extreme. You know, in regards to like, difficulty sort of quotes. But as soon as you go into the water, it's like the thing never shuts up. It's like warning, user wet and cold.
Can you get like swim trunks to offset this? Or?
No, but if you go stand near a fire or whatever, you'll dry off. Or you'll slowly dry off in time, just sort of walking around out of the water. But then like every 20 seconds, they'll be like, warning, user wet and cold. So annoying, like every 5 minutes of this nonsense.
You must be able to stop that in the settings.
Oh, probably. But it also like tells you important things like warning, you are dehydrated, drink some water and stuff like that.
Warning, you have been bitten by a snake.
But one of the main problems I have with it is that it's in English. But the voice actor for the guy who you're a guy, is obviously some Swedish dude speaking in English.
Is it PewDiePie?
I don't know who that is.
What?
Oh, he's like the YouTube guy, yeah?
Yeah.
Most popular YouTuber or whatever for some reason. No, I've never watched a single one of his videos. So I don't know what he sounds like.
Right.
But he's just like, crashes out of the ship and he's like, oh, what has happened? Oh, no. Everything is terrible. So, like, it sounds like, maybe the guy's like a professional voice actor in Sweden or something like that.
Yeah.
But the voice is just so, like, he obviously just can't do the nuances of English or whatever.
Okay.
But if it was just in Swedish or whatever, and I had subtitles in English, I'd be fine with that. You know, it wouldn't be a problem. But the voice acting is god-awful. And you crash on, like, a beach, right? And you start walking along the beach trying to find, like, resources and stuff to, like, build a beacon, connect to a satellite, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And like that, walking along the beach. And there is an island off in the distance. And as I look at it, there's like some light flashing from like, did. So I was like, "Oh, the fuck is that?" So I dropped the save. I was like, "I'll go swim out to it."
Yeah.
Because, it looks like it's fully rendered and all that sort of stuff. There's clearly something going on over there.
Warning, user is wet.
User is cold and wet. Started happening almost immediately. But so I'm just like swim. And you have a sprint function. So I'm like swimming really hard. I was like, man, this is taking me forever. And it's like right there. It's within swimming distance. So I turn around. I've just been against an invisible wall for the past 10 minutes. But yeah.
That is quite amusing.
It was, yeah. It took me like 2 minutes to realize that, man, I'm really not making any progress. And I turned around like 50 meters offshore.
Yeah. I just looked up some pictures. It's a good-looking game.
It is very visually attractive. The controls and like hitboxes of stuff aren't the best.
Yeah. Is it early access?
I believe so. So a lot of this is forgivable. But you go around and you find like alien relics. Yeah. And you'll pick it up, like there'll be like alien relic. You pick it up, it'll be like, plus 1% protection against hypothermia. Which makes no sense, but whatever. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And it like rewards you for going down and exploring caves and all this sort of stuff. And it has like fall damage and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point you get this sort of teleport gun. Where it's like this big disc thrower.
Yeah.
So you go, pshoo, and you shoot the disc. Then you hold a button and you teleport to where the disc is.
Oh, like Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, sure. Except it goes maybe 3 meters.
Okay.
And at one point, I'm like walking around. I'm in a cave at this point, with my teleport gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I look down and I see like the symbol of, hey, there's something hidden down here. There's a cool item down here.
Yeah.
So I jump in. Didn't use a teleport gun. No particular reason, because I'm a fucking idiot. It took fall damage anyway. I picked it up, and luckily it was a healing item. It was it was a plus 25 health, but which refilled my health. So I was like, sweet, let's get out of this pit that I'm now trapped in. And I looked around. There is no fucking way out of this pit. I was just like stuck in this fucking pit. And the platforming in hitboxes isn't the best. So there's like sort of stone pillars, or natural formed stone pillars all around the place. And it just led to me like having to walk up to like this rock, sort of throw the teleport disc about 2 feet above my head, teleport to that, and like try and climb on some hitboxes until I could throw the disc again enough to get out. And it was just so frustrating.
Yeah. It sounds like maybe it's not finished.
It's absolutely not finished. Yeah. And maybe when it is finished, I'll go back and have another look. But for the moment, I'm fucking done with it. Because I got super frustrated.
I bet.
There was like this area where it's like, go down into these catacombs to go find out what a noise is or whatever. And find one of your companions who has been down this way before, who crash landed as well.
Mm.
And there's this big pit and a ladder. And it was like, go down there. Because it gives you waypoints with your little doohickey. And I was like, cool. So I looked down and there was a ladder. And I couldn't like interact with the ladder in any way. So I was like, huh. So I was like, oh, maybe I just need to, every other game you run into a ladder, you start using it. So I was like, sweet. So I just sort of went around to where the ladder is, turned around, sort of like, usual ladder operating procedure. No, I just fell to my death. And then I was
going down a ladder is like the hardest thing to put in a game. So many games have tried and failed.
Yeah, there was no way to interact with this ladder. So I was like, oh, reloading last save point. Because you can only save by sleeping or using these monoliths that are sort of like littered around the place.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, reloading last save. So I was like, so far back. Then I went all the way back to it, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, so I just got my teleport disc and shot it down the hole, waited to hear it land all the way down the bottom, and just teleported. Yeah. But why put the ladder there if I can't interact with the ladder?
It seems like maybe the teleport gun is their like solution for our game's a bit fucked. So if you get stuck, use this to
maybe.
Yeah.
But other than visually very pretty, it definitely looks very alien.
Yeah.
It's nothing like Earth and all that sort of stuff. But I just didn't understand it. Like when I had to go investigate the cave, but there was all like rubble in front of it. And early in the game, you pick up some cable that you says can be used as rope.
Yeah.
And so you enter like this little area, and you got to like get in the cave. It's like remove rubble, remove the stuff in front of the cave so you can get in.
Yeah.
This was before I had the teleport gun. And so I was like, all right. So I have this rope and like a sharp rock and all these other things. So you combine things with other things. You start off with 2 rocks, and you combine them together, and you smash one rock with the other one, you get a sharp rock. And you use that to cut stuff. So I was like, surely I need to use this rope, this cable I've got, interact with the rubble and stuff in front of the door, and remove it. Spend like fucking 15 minutes in this little side area of the map trying to figure out how to get into this fucking... So I was like, I'm fucking done with this. And then I leave the area, and as soon as I leave the area, I hear in the background, I look up and there's a big smoke trail and a supply ship from fucking who knows where lands down the far end of the beach. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Go down there, and then it's like, opens up full of supplies and a teleport gun. Which is how I'm supposed to use to get through the hole. But your whole ship is destroyed. Where the fuck did this supply pod come from, you know? And you just happened to land nearby. It's just really frustrating. Anyway, I've been talking about that for like 15 minutes. So I think we can probably... really frustrating. We can put a pin in that. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be great once it exits alpha or whatever it is currently in. But for the moment, I'm done with it.
Will it be as great, though, as our forced review?
It's actually thousands of times better than our forced review. That's coming up, which I'm not looking forward to doing. No. So, now that we've filled your minds and hearts with wondrous content, I think it is time for us to move on to forced review. And I said it like that because Russell got mad at me last week when I said, now that we've talked enough shit, let's move on to forced review.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Anyway, forced review. Forced review, the segment in which one of us forces the other person to review something that they haven't seen, but the person who gave it to them have. Yeah. No, we're sticking with that. It wasn't the best explanation I've given. Kind of got a bit weird at the end there, but I'm going to keep it.
Alright, good.
Because you got to accept your failures, Russell, and learn from them. Okay. Now, I have been dreading this. So much so that I put off watching the movie you gave me last week to review until about 3 hours ago.
You do that with everything I give you, though.
No, I don't. No, I don't, actually. I watched Blue Ruin, like, 4 days after you gave it to me.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You were still watching it when I turned up.
Whatever.
We watched the last 20 minutes together.
What was I... I've watched other things that you gave me in time.
Yeah, sure you have.
You're one to talk. I gave you like fucking 4 weeks to review Psychonauts, and you played it for like 6 hours. Yep. So shut your yap. Except in regards to conversing about it. You're a very busy man. Yeah. Anyway, you gave me a god-awful movie, and I hate you for making me watch this.
It's rated 6.2 on IMDb.
Yeah, but so is fucking Twilight, so that doesn't say anything about the quality of the movie. It's probably weighted higher than that. You gave me Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, a movie of which you know that I have taken much pride in the fact that I have never fucking watched because it's god awful. But no,
so Twilight's 5.2, by the way.
Well, you go pretty close. And so I watched it this afternoon, and I have a lot of what I tweet. I was tweeting. I wasn't tweeting.
You're messaging me. Before we get to that,
all right. Yeah, no, go on. You do your little intro thing.
So this is the 4th movie in the Indiana Jones series. Many people now believe that there is no 4th movie in the Indiana Jones series.
I refuse.
They don't acknowledge the existence of this film because it was released like 20 years after the 3rd movie, and it's not good.
No, it's terrible. It's god awful. Yeah, it's terrible.
The tagline is, in May, I assume the month that it was released, the adventure continues.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that might be the worst we've had.
That's the worst tagline we've had.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it stars...
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, no, this is a bit... You tell me, like, who directed it and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, it was directed by Steven Spielberg. See, this is easy. I don't even need to look this stuff up.
Yeah, you don't need to look at that.
Who is,
we're going to go through the motions regardless here.
A legendary director.
Yes, done
can do no wrong.
Things. Yes. Well, can barely do
occasionally
no wrong.
Does wrong. Harrison Ford returns in the starring role of Indiana Jones.
As a geriatric Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Cate Blanchett is the villain, a Russian Soviet psychic.
Weird looking Soviet psychic.
The Russians are the bad guys because, of course, Harrison Ford is now old, and so Indiana Jones
now
must
it's Cold War town.
similarly be old.
No, yeah, Cold War town, no longer World War II town.
Yeah. So you can't use Nazis anymore. So commies.
Which I feel was one of the main failings of this.
Yeah.
Because Nazis are like the last great bad guys.
Yeah. Nobody feels bad when you shoot a Nazi.
Yeah. Shoot some Russians. I'm like, man, those guys are okay.
Yeah, they probably had Russian family.
Yeah. They're not Nazis who were born out of pods.
Yeah. Hitler's clone farms.
Hitler's clone army, yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is in the movie. Before he became a
Weirdo.
public wacko.
Wacko?
I was going to go whack job, and then I
tried to change it to wacko.
Wacko. And we got this wacko. And who else is in it? All cast.
The chick from the first movie.
Oh yeah, Marion Ravenwood. Karen Allen. It was pretty hot in the first movie.
She was very hot in the first movie. She's got beautiful eyes.
She does. Oh yeah, John Hurt is in it as a brain damaged guy or something.
Yeah, that was weird. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like you've talked enough. Now let me lambast this movie.
Please, have at it.
Well, to start off with, I texted you I messaged you as things happened in this movie. So let's just go through a couple of the things I sent you.
This was my work day.
Oh, this is what, did you enjoy my live commentary
I did,
on this movie?
Because I knew how you were suffering.
Alright, 15 minutes into the movie, and it's already garbage. And the next one is, a fucking refrigerator? He'll be dead. Ridiculously dead. Like that landing scene where he's bouncing through the... So dead.
And then there's a little CGI gopher thing.
Yeah, so stupid. And I'm like, and you laugh at that. Yeah. And I'm like, this is just sad. Indy isn't supposed to be melancholy about being old. He's supposed to kick ass and take names.
Yeah.
And then I was like, El Dorado now? Fuck me. And then I was like, why would he bring his motorbike to Peru? It's nonsense. Flies all over the goddamn world with his fucking motorbike.
Yeah. And
it never shows up again.
It's an integral part of his character. Also, apparently fencing.
Also fencing. Well, at one point he mentioned that he gets kicked out of a fancy school.
Yeah.
In which they taught sword fighting.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm pretty good with a blade, but I don't need to be taught.
But the only reason they did that is so he could have a sword fight with Kate Blanchett later. And you wouldn't go, why the fuck is this greaser sword fighting?
And then the next one is, this movie has a very skewed view on how magnetism works. Which is true.
Oh, no doubt.
The opening scene, I don't give a shit if I spoil this for anybody. In the opening scene...
Well, nobody should watch it, so...
No, it's terrible.
You're not going to spoil it for anyone.
You enter the big warehouse in which all the American government is storing all these artifacts and all these
top secret Ark of
stuff.
The Covenant.
Like the Ark of the Covenant and all that sort of stuff. And he goes in and was like, I need bullets. I need gunpowder. To track where this magnetic skull is. Or alien or whatever. And so... They give him gunpowder out of a grenade, which seems... Why would you pull a grenade apart?
It seems potentially dangerous.
And he's standing at the entrance of this warehouse, and he throws it up into the air, and the magnetism of this alien body, or whatever, the thing he's going for, grabs it out of the air and starts pulling it towards where it is.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. If the magnet was that powerful... Yeah. Then it would form a fucking black hole in the middle of this goddamn warehouse.
Cars through the wall.
It would pull cars through walls. And the whole building would sort of collapse in on itself if the magnet was that powerful.
Crushing everybody to death.
Yeah, exactly.
Saving us from watching this movie.
And then he gets closer and he does it again. And he's like, I need shotgun bullets. Because he needs the shotgun shells for the ball bearings that are inside him.
Yeah.
Which they just happen to have. None of them were carrying shotguns. They all had machine guns.
Well, you never know.
Anyway. And he's standing on a big pile and he drops it down and they go dunk, 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 and then they go whoop into the pile of boxes.
Yeah.
Because, And it just seems like they forget that the alien skull, which, as my next quote says, the crystal alien magnetic quartz skull.
Yeah.
Is the way it was described in the movie. Has this magnetic property that only seems to show up when plot convenient.
Yeah.
All other times, when they're just walking down the street with it.
Or holding it inside a car.
Yeah, nothing. It doesn't seem to collapse in on itself or anything like that. Nonsense. And I took a bit of a break of about half an hour there because not really much happens.
You took a break from texting, not
yes.
a break from the movie.
I also took a break from the movie because it was so fucking ridiculous. And then the next thing is the alien crystal cell gives you psychic powers. How? Why?
Magic.
And you said science.
Oh, science, yeah. Science. Magic and science are basically the same.
It's like looking at this alien crystal skull gives you psychic powers, apparently.
Yeah.
And that's just never mentioned again. You know?
Well, wasn't that her plan? Wasn't her plan to get the psychic powers from the thing and then...
Yeah, for some reason. But then she had the skull, and she just like, oh, now we gotta go to the place where the skull is from. But you have the skull! You have what you want!
There could be more skulls.
Well, still, take that skull away!
Yeah.
Don't take it to the place where they're trying to return it to.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is fucking El Dorado they're going to. Is El Dorado the place they're going to.
You were very upset by El Dorado.
It's fucking El Dorado. Do you want to throw out any other sort of pop culture references that people will get? When you get to El Dorado, is there two dudes in a horse like strumming a guitar? Fuck me. And then the next thing I say is card sword fight.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, ugh.
Was the monkeys before or after that?
He gets hooked up in... Shia LaBeouf gets hooked up in branches or something. Yeah. For some reason, he's like riding along the car and Indy's there in a car chase scene, as there must be in apparently every indie movie.
Yeah. Which, they introduced this tree-smashing tank thing.
Oh, yeah.
In order to have a car chase.
That would not work, by the way. And then after they destroy that with a rocket-propelled grenade, they just proceed to just drive through the jungle fine without it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shia LaBeouf somehow gets tangled up in vines at sort of about 5 feet off the ground or so.
Yeah.
Which somehow the vines then magically haul him upwards about 50 feet in the air. And then he's just sort of stuck there, tangled up in these vines. And he's around all these monkeys.
Yeah.
And then all these monkeys start swinging through the trees on vines. Something which monkeys, to my knowledge, do not do. They just jump from tree to tree.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
And then he proceeds to go swinging through the trees on fucking dangling vines.
I can't remember, does he bellow like Tarzan?
He does not bellow like Tarzan.
That would have been perfect.
And somehow catches up to the cars that are racing through the jungle by doing this.
Yeah.
And then like fucking jumps onto the thing. And my next statement after, now he's a fucking monkey, was, fuck you, Russell, for making me watch this.
That's fair.
And then what happens after this is they crash into... I'm skipping over most of the plot, but that's alright because most of the plot is pointless.
You forgot about that guy who like betrays everyone.
Oh yeah, he's like a double agent. Yeah. Then he's a triple agent.
I don't know why
it turned out to be just a double agent.
I don't know why either side didn't just shoot him in the head and leave him in the jungle.
Okay, I don't know. But they land on this big sort of ant colony after the car chase.
Yeah.
Filled with these ants that... I know there's like a lot of bad ants out there.
These are like crazed flesh-eating ants.
Crazed flesh-eating ants. And I know that flesh-eating ants exist. They can strip like a cow carcass down in like an hour or so.
If you've ever seen the 5th episode of MacGyver, then you'd be familiar with...
How are you so intimately familiar with MacGyver?
I got the DVDs.
Okay. It's like I tried to rewatch MacGyver a while ago.
It's so good.
And it was rough. It did not age well. Anyway, much like the main guy from MacGyver.
What do you mean?
Did not age well.
He was in Stargate.
Yeah, but after that, he got fat.
Okay.
Anyway. Then they go into this, they crash into this big fucking enormous, like fucking 80-foot sized fucking series of anthills and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, oh, we gotta run, these fucking... And this is my indie, by the way. He's like, we gotta get out of here, these fucking ants.
Yeah, it's flawless.
And all these ants start pouring out of these hills and biting and all this sort of stuff. And they're just like consuming corpses and people.
Stripped to the bone.
Stripped to the bone in like 10 seconds and dragging these corpses back to the anthill and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And they get trapped in this sort of like Indy and a bad guy and like the crazy dude with the crystal skull. They're sort of trapped there. And they're going to get consumed and overrun by these ants. So the crazy guy pulls the alien skull out, Which the alien ants are like, whoa, man, can't go near that. And proceed to form a perfect circle around it, like they can't go near it.
Yeah.
Why? What, are they afraid of getting fucking psychic powers from this stupid crystal skull?
Yeah, some magic George Lucas bullshit.
So eventually, for some reason, like the villain, the chick, she gets away from the ants by clambering up onto this tree branch that had fallen down.
This is the first and last time that Cate Blanchett will ever be described as the chick.
She's so weird looking in this movie. She's got a very alien sort of shape to her face, which is probably intentional. Mm-hmm. And then she like grabs hold of this vine and pulls herself up like a foot off the ground.
Yeah.
At which point the ants can somehow still sense and know where she is, and they start forming a pyramid of ants together and consume her. Why didn't she just climb up higher so they couldn't get to her?
That's way too complicated.
So instead, like, one ant gets on her boot and she squishes it between her legs for some peculiar reason. And then, for, like, ants that are this dangerous, cars can just drive on these ants and stop and pick people up and start driving again. With no worries whatsoever.
The ants don't, like, rip through the tires.
No, they're just not interested.
Yeah.
So they all get back, all the good guys get back on this car. That's also a boat, which I'm sure is a vehicle that existed at some point.
Yeah.
And there's another car chase takes off. And then they're like, oh, there's a cliff. We can't go off the cliff because there's a big fall to the water.
Yeah.
At which point, the main female good girl, the one from the first movie, whose name I forget. Marion, yeah. Is like, they're like, don't drive off the cliff. She's like, I know what I'm doing, just trust me. No, she's trying to drive off a cliff on a fucking car. It's like a 500-foot drop.
Yeah.
So she drives off this cliff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Russians are trying to abseil down the side of the cliff to get away from the ants and all that sort of stuff.
Doesn't somebody else drive off the cliff as well, and then they like get slingshotted back onto the cliff?
No. She drives off this cliff, and there's this tree growing out of the side of the cliff at about a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
And she lands the car in the tree, which then proceeds to bend all the way down so she can drive off the tree and into the water. At which point the tree springs back up and hits the Russians climbing up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. That seems very unlikely.
And see, the whole thing is very unlikely. And then they proceed to be in this car boat. And one of the clues that the crazy guy gave them is like 3 times it falls, or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. And so they're like, oh, what does this mean? 3 falls. Fuck, can't figure this out. And then they go off a little waterfall.
Yeah.
Which I was like, all right, you know, they survived and they all remained in the car, which remained floating after you went off a waterfall. Okay, I'm willing to accept that that's possible. And then they're like, oh no, everybody else is like, whoa, fucking waterfall, crazy. Anyway, 3 times they fall, what the fuck is that about? And of course, Indy is like, oh shit, it's 3 waterfalls.
Yeah.
And then they go off the second one, which is much bigger. At which point I'm like, no, they would die. They would die from that.
Yeah.
That would be their death. And then it's like the fucking Amazon Falls or whatever. The third one is fucking massive.
Yeah.
Just hundreds of meters. And then they just go off the edge of this and they'll jump out of the vehicle and they're like, oh my god. I'm like, well, that's it. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah,
they're
all
dead.
It's a very strange end to a movie.
There's no way you could survive that.
Yeah.
Because even if you managed to survive the fall, just the beating you would get in the rough waters underneath would kill you immediately. No, they're all fine. They're okay.
They're not badly wounded?
Not badly,
spines.
nothing. No, just, oh, what a rough and tumble trip that was. Absolutely fine. Long story short, they take the crystal skull back through to this fucking Aztec or Mayan temple or whatever El Dorado is. And skipping a bunch of nonsense plot, turns out that the crystal skull is part of a set of 13 crystal skeletons.
Yeah.
Which are aliens. And they're all skeletons, and they were archaeologists or collectors or something, because they've got treasures from all around the ancient world.
Yeah.
But for somehow they died, and then there were just 13 crystal skeletons laying about the place.
Yeah.
And so they give the skull back to the skeleton, or the bad woman does. And they're like, speaking through the crazy old archaeologist guy, and they were like, said some nonsense, and Indy was like, they want to reward us for giving the skull back. She was like, tell me everything. So of course they overload her with knowledge, and she blows up and disintegrates. But then it's like, oh, they're not aliens. They're a hive mind of dimensional beings. And then somehow the 13 skeletons merge into one skeleton.
Yeah.
Which, as they merge, comes back to life and is an alien. But is not an alien.
I mean, an interdimensional being.
An interdimensional being. And then the whole temple collapses in on itself.
Turns into a UFO.
Turns into a UFO. Rips up the entire valley.
Yeah.
Which was apparently below an enormous lake of some variety, which I believe because they went down waterfalls to get here. But you'd still think it'd get full of water, as that's how things work. Somehow, it then disappears, and that's the end of the movie.
Yep.
That's stupid.
Yep.
But it doesn't explain, like, the Roswell crash, where the skull came from.
It doesn't matter.
The skull is from Roswell.
Yeah.
You know.
There's aliens.
No, actually, is the skull... No, the skull wasn't from Roswell. There was another alien skeleton. Apparently, the aliens have crystal skeletons, just FYI.
Apparently, yeah.
That makes no sense.
Magnetic
skeletons.
Yeah.
It seems like that would be very difficult to deal with any sort of life.
Yeah.
Nonsense. But what really confused me is, like, when the chick came in, the main chick, Marion, or whatever her name was. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Nice. She came in, and she and Indy are like, he's like, I didn't want to marry you because I would have let you down. And she was like, I lived a happy life without you. I got married and da-da-da-da-da. And she's ostensibly married to the crazy archaeologist that sort of kicked off this whole thing.
Ah, okay.
If memory serves. I don't know. Wasn't very explained well.
I don't remember.
And then, at the end of the movie, when it's revealed that Indy is the kid's dad, LaBouf's dad.
Yeah.
And
which everybody knew from, like,
oh yeah, it was
the moment they
easily
said that.
projected.
Yeah.
Indy's his dad. And then they find the guy, and he's like, oh, son, wife, oh, thank God, once he gets his senses back. You know. And then it's just, the next scene is Indy and Marion getting married. And her, what I assume is now ex-husband, is sitting in the chapel going, good on him. Didn't make a lick of fucking sense.
No.
Oh, God damn it. God damn it, Russell. That is only, like, such a small fraction of the nonsense things that happens.
Oh, yeah, no, this movie is nothing but problems.
Yeah. Because what I loved about the old Indiana Jones movies was, sure, it had, like, the Ark of the Covenant, and it had the Holy Bible cup thing. The fucking Holy Relic. I forget the name of it.
The Holy Grail.
Holy Grail, thank you. And it had, like, the 3 stones, the holy stones from...
The Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Kalima.
Yeah.
But all of that was, like, spiritual stuff. Like, ancient relics that had power because of, like, some form of supernatural sort of power source or whatever. And that was what Indiana Jones was all about. All these ancient relics that, oh, shit, they actually do stuff, you know? And this whole movie just shat over all of that. And, it made me so upset, and I hate you for making me watch it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I still don't know why you made me watch it.
Because I wanted to hear this big long rant.
Anyway, 0 out of 10.
How many crystal skulls would you give this?
It gets 0 out of 10. Doesn't even get its own rating system. 0 out of 10.
Well, now you can be rewarded. Because now you can watch the Red Letter Media review of this movie.
Oh, I might do that after you leave, yeah. Okay. But now I get to give you something to review.
You do.
And usually I would find something fucking awful to mention this. But you have said something that angered me. And we were talking earlier before we started recording the podcast. And I was very surprised when you said this. That you have never seen Boondock Saints.
No, I haven't.
You've never seen The Boondock Saints, which is a great movie, and I think you would really like it. So that is going to be your forced review. You have to go watch The Boondock Saints.
Wow, your revenge is a lot less terrible than I thought it would be.
Well, when you come back from your holiday that you're going on in a couple of weeks, your car's going to be burnt down to the ground.
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough.
So yeah, you get to watch the Boondock Saints.
Cool.
I think we've run quite long.
Yeah, I think so.
Because of my ridiculous rant. So, if you have liked this podcast, you can go check us out on iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud and any number of other places where I've found some form of podcast aggregator and have submitted us to it. And then you can also go to our website, of which weekly Russell posts a hilarious blog post of humorous links.
And if you read this blog post, please, for the love of God, put a comment or something.
Russell gets so angry because all of our comments and stuff happen on SoundCloud, on Facebook, and all that sort of stuff. But he does all this work for these blog posts, and I'm sure people read them because we get unique visitors to the website. But nobody ever comments on there because I'm sure it's like some form of hassle to like log in.
Yeah, probably.
And you got so angry, and then I asked you listen to so many podcasts, and I'm sure you go some of the blog posts that they do. Do you ever comment? And you're like, no, of course I don't. So I feel like you don't get to be too angry about it. But yes, that's at popculturepon.weebly.com is where that is. You can also email us at popculturepon@gmail.com if you want to find another way to upset Russell by commenting and not letting him know about it, because I'm the one who checks the email.
You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/popculturepon. You can now react to our posts in 6 different ways.
Oh, that's true, you can.
Which I find to be quite stressful.
All of that, and they still haven't given us a thumbs down.
Yeah. Or a poo emoji.
Or a poo. Your obsession with the poo emoji.
It's such a great emoji. But, yeah, like, now you can't just click a like.
I feel like you can.
Yeah, there's not the all-purpose like anymore. Because I used to just like things whenever...
You're a tenacious liker.
Yeah. But now I have to, like, think about it.
Well, you don't have to. You can still just click like.
I feel like people will be like... I'm saying like a lot.
You are, yeah.
People will be thinking, oh, what does that like mean? Why didn't he love it? Why didn't he wow it?
I haven't looked at it too closely. But it looked like it was like angry, sad, happy, really happy, and heart or something.
Yeah.
That's about it. And then like.
Yeah.
You're only ever going to be like it, or love it, or happy.
Yeah.
You're never going to be like, oh, it's sad.
Well, you might be angry if somebody posts like, look at this political thing I don't like. And then all your friends will be like, angry.
I don't really pay that much attention to Facebook. But
anyway, you can find us on Twitter if you really want. Twitter @PopCulturePon.
If you want to keep track of when stuff gets released, that's probably the place to go. Because when I upload stuff...
Well, if you watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I also... Do I not do it when I upload to... No, I keep forgetting to tick that.
Yeah.
I used to tick the publish to Twitter when I upload it to SoundCloud as well. So if you want to keep track of when we upload stuff, I will get back in the habit of doing that.
Yeah.
And it automatically happens when I upload the video to YouTube.
And if anybody ever did, it would be the fastest way to get in touch with us.
Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean,
because my phone will go, and then I'll look at it.
Oh, you logged into our account there as well as your own?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So if you want to get in contact with Russell via sending him death threats for making me watch this god-awful movie or whatever, or just tell him that he's got beautiful baby blue eyes, because he does.
Aww.
A fact which I love to bring up all the time and make you uncomfortable. You can do it via Twitter.
Can't feel emotions.
We are on YouTube, but you'll just have to figure out a way to find it yourself, because I'm not going to recite the weird string of characters that we have to recite to get to our account, because we haven't got enough subscribers to get a unique link. And if you've enjoyed this pod, it's angered me so much. Yes. Everything else is all nice and neat and tidy, but you need like 100 fucking subscribers, which I think is about twice our listener base at the moment, to get a unique YouTube account.
What we need to do is upload a video with, like, the lead frame is just a woman in a bikini. And then we'll get 1 million subscribers in a week.
What if I just, like, take a video of my cat and put it on there?
Yeah, and then there's 2 million subscribers.
There you go. So that's clearly the solution.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can go there. God, it angers me. Everything else is like Popculture Pon. And that's just like, Jiggerfurger 7 everything.
We could rename the podcast to that.
We could. Just that soundbite.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
7.
I'm pretty sure there's a 7 in there. Just from having a look at it when I upload the videos.
There is now.
There is now. There will be if there isn't already.
Why are you still listening? Stop this podcast. Go outside.
I'm trying to end it, but we keep getting sidetracked.
Wrap it up, Jim.
If you've enjoyed this, feel free to come on back next week for another episode of Popculture Pontification. See, look at that. That was streamlined, efficient. We didn't run over or talk nonsense and get distracted at all.
I feel like you could cut this down to about 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes.
It'd be a solid episode.